Say hi, Cece. Say hi, Bells.
Hi, Bill.
No, you gotta say hi.
Hi.
This guy right here, he's gonna do all the dishes.
That's me.
They seemed like the perfect family. Chris Watts, a devoured husband and father, his vibrant wife Shanann, and their two beautiful daughters Bella and Celeste. But behind the smiles and social media posts was a man harboring a dark, deadly secret. What would drive a seemingly loving father to destroy everything he had? Today on Crime Thread, a picture-perfect family, a sudden disappearance, and a chilling confession. What really happened behind closed doors? But before we dive in, don't forget to like and subscribe for more in-depth crime stories. Shanann Watts, a 34-year-old mother, was last seen arriving home from a business trip at 1:48 a.m. on August 13, 2018. Later that day, her friend Nicole Atkinson reported her missing after Shanann failed to attend a doctor's appointment and wouldn't answer her phone calls or reply to her messages. Her friend was worried because Shanann was pregnant and she wouldn't miss an important appointment.
Hi.
Here, Nicole?
Yes.
Okay. So what's going on?
So my friend, we were out of town for a business trip this weekend.
All right.
And I dropped her off at 2 o'clock this morning. She's 15 weeks pregnant. She wasn't feeling well. And she had a doctor's appointment this morning at 9. And I told her to let me know if she needed me to take her. She's got 2 little girls. And she was very distraught over the weekend, wasn't eating normally or drinking. And we kept trying to force it on her because she's pregnant. Her husband and her supposedly are separating, but she didn't know this. She thought they were just having issues. He disclosed that to me today.
Okay.
Because I called him and I was like, have you talked or heard from Shanann since she left for work this morning? Because I can't get a hold of her. I've called, I've texted. Her car's in the garage. Her shoes she wears every single day are by the front door.
She only has one vehicle?
No, they only have the one vehicle in his work truck.
Okay, that's what I'm asking. There's not
the girls and went on a play date, but they're 4 and 2. She went on a play date. Why wouldn't she take in a car? They're both in car seats.
Police began looking outside the house and through the windows and called Chris, who said he didn't know where Shanann was, but that he will be arriving home soon. Police waited until Chris arrived.
Okay, get Madison.
Scott, how you doing?
How's it going?
So this is the only vehicle she would have?
Only one that, yeah.
She would drive? Okay.
Chris appeared cooperative at first, allowing police to search the house. But things didn't add up. Shanann's phone, keys and purse were still in the house, and there were no signs of forced entry or struggle. Chris even made an emotional plea on TV for his family's safe return, but the cracks in his story began to show. As police dug deeper, their suspicions about Chris grew. A neighbor's surveillance footage showed him backing his truck into the garage early that morning, a detail that raised red flags. When Chris saw the video, he started acting very suspiciously, that even his neighbors called it out.
Like I said, you might have you call at the bank and see if there's any kind of activity.
Because if there was any sort of action out there,
His camera's
I would have got it.
like
Right.
we had issues the other week when people were stealing stuff out of like garages and stuff like that. And I had parked my truck
I
up
had
here.
to park right here.
Yeah.
No.
Rocking back and forth, and if you look, he never moves his stuff in and out of the garage ever.
Right.
He doesn't look worried. He looks like he's trying to cover his tracks. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And if he's loading his stuff, why isn't he walking back and forth? But I can't see what he's doing in the back of the truck because he pulled into the garage. And he knows my camera's there. No, I'm just saying it's kind of odd that he pulls his truck back behind my camera. And he never backs his truck into the driveway.
A 5-star analysis by the neighbor. Chris did in fact know something, if not everything, about the disappearance of his family. Chris was brought in for questioning, and when asked about his relationship with his wife, he said this.
I have never cheated on my wife.
Okay.
And I fully suspect she has never done that to me.
Oh, okay.
Like, she's always been a trustworthy person. I've always been a trustworthy person. I fully expect if we ever thought about straying another way, that we would tell each other before it happened.
What Chris didn't realize was that while he was being interrogated by the police, two significant developments were unfolding. First, his workplace contacted authorities, revealing a possible affair between Chris and a co-worker, supported by email evidence. Second, the co-worker herself, Nicole Kessinger, came forward and informed the police about their ongoing relationship and shared what she knew about Chris. While the police were gathering information from Chris's workplace and Nicole, Chris had agreed to take a polygraph test on August 15th, but he failed miserably. The polygraph examiner didn't mince words, telling Chris outright, "You did not pass."
So it was completely clear that you were not honest during the testing, and I think you already know that. You did not pass the polygraph test.
Okay.
Okay. So now we need to talk about what actually happened.
Chris insisted that he didn't know how his family disappeared. But since the police already knew that Chris was lying and that his wife and kids could be in danger, they had to change their interrogation strategy to get to them as fast as possible.
But you are here today lying about something else. So we need to talk about that, okay?
I cheated on her.
I know. And this is very good. Keep
I'm not proud of it. Like, I didn't think anything like that could happen. I don't think I'd ever do it, but I did.
I know. Keep going.
And she accused me of it. I denied it. I cheated on her, and I feel horrible for it. Like, she was pregnant, and it was, I don't want to, I didn't hurt her. I cheated on her. I hurt her emotionally. I cheated on her.
You're doing a good job. This is the Chris that I knew would come out today. This is the Chris who tells the truth because you're a truth teller.
While the positive reinforcement strategy is slowly paying off, the second detective brings in another strategy by offering Chris a scapegoat.
Chris, did Shanann do something to them?
No, I don't know.
I'm curious.
I have no clue.
No, you would have known because they didn't leave the house. Did Shanann do something to them, and then did you feel like you had to do something to Shanann?
However, Chris was still holding on to his story, so detectives decided to bring in a close family member into the interrogation room, Chris's father, in an effort to break the silence.
Anything else you want to tell me? What's going on, or what happened, or anything? Or you know anything about?
I don't want to protect her.
What?
I don't want to protect her.
You don't want to protect her? She hurt him?
Yeah. And then
What now?
I thought not her.
You hurt her. So she killed those who see him off, choked him to death. You lost it and choke her or
That's just rage.
Finally, a confession. The detectives' strategies paid off, and it was time to find the bodies before confronting Chris for one last time. Investigators presented him with a satellite image of the oil field where he worked, showing the surrounding tanks and landscape. Chris began explaining the location, pointing out the exact areas where he had disposed of the bodies. He revealed that he had buried Shanann in a shallow grave near the oil tanks. When asked about his daughters, Bella and Celeste, he admitted to placing their bodies inside the oil tanks themselves. The information Chris provided ultimately led police to the recovery of Shanann's body and the remains of the two young girls at the Anadarko petroleum site. This moment marked a turning point in the case, providing the gruesome confirmation of his horrific actions and closing the search for the missing family. Detectives returned to Chris to confront him one final time about killing his entire family. They laid out the evidence, pressing him to tell the full truth. Despite this, Chris clung to his story, claiming that Shanann had strangled their two daughters in a fit of rage after he told her about his affair and desire to separate. He insisted that he killed Shanann in a moment of anger, supposedly avenging Bella and Celeste. The detectives, however, didn't buy his version of events. They reminded Chris that the evidence didn't support his claims. Shanann's autopsy showed no defensive wounds, and Bella and Celeste's injuries indicated they had been smothered, not strangled, aligning with a calculated, premeditated act. Despite their efforts, Chris continued to blame Shanann, refusing to take full responsibility for the deaths of his daughters. This interaction further revealed Chris's manipulation and unwillingness to admit the truth even as the evidence against him mounted. His version of events would later be discredited in court, leaving no doubt that he alone was responsible for the tragic deaths of Shanann, Bella, and Celeste. Detectives eventually hit a dead end with Chris as he refused to fully admit the truth. With no other options, he was formally placed under arrest.
Chris, go ahead and stand up for me. I'm going to have you face that wall over there. Yep, just face it.
2 weeks later, the prosecution offered Chris a plea deal to avoid the death penalty. In exchange, he finally confessed to murdering his entire family, including his pregnant wife, Shanann, their daughters, Bella and Celeste, and their unborn son, Nico. This plea deal ensured that Chris would serve multiple life sentences without the possibility of parole, sparing Shanann's family the anguish of a lengthy trial.
I could objectively say that this is perhaps the most inhumane and vicious crime that I have handled out of the thousands of cases that I have seen.
While serving his life sentence in prison, Chris Watts shared the chilling details of the murder night in a series of letters to an author. In these confessions, he revealed the horrifying truth about what had transpired in the early hours of August 13th, 2018. Chris described how he first strangled Shanann in their bedroom after an argument about his affair. He admitted that she didn't fight back, but accused him of ruining their family moments before her death. After killing Shanann, Chris claimed that Bella and Celeste woke up and saw him wrapping their mother's body in a sheet. Despite their confusion and fear, Chris loaded Shanann's body into his truck, along with the two girls, and drove to the oil field where he worked. At the site, he smothered Celeste first, while Bella watched in terror. Bella pleaded with her father, asking, "Daddy, are you going to do to me what you did to Cece?" But her desperate words didn't stop him. Chris admitted to killing Bella shortly after, describing the chilling detail of her fight to stay alive.
Daddy is a hero. He helps me grow up strong. He helped me not go too. He reads me books. He ties my shoes. If you're a hero, blue and blue, my daddy is love you.
Chris Watts wasn't a stranger, a drifter, or a shadowy figure in the night. He was a father, a husband, a man trusted by those he destroyed. The real horror of this case isn't just the crime, it's that the monster was already inside the home. Know what you think about this case in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe for more crime stories.